Michael Douglas has done solid roles over the years, like in A Perfect Murder, The Game, and Falling Down. In this movie called Traffic, it is not necessarily his role that's the problem, but this movie's main problem is the pacing and that you are bored most of the time with empty dialogue and bad characters. This movie is hailed for being one of Benicio Del Toro's best performances, and he even won an award for that one. But I don't really buy that, because I think he actually played better in The Haunted. Sure, he did a decent role, but Michael Douglas stands out way more in this movie, and his act may be the only valid reason for watching this movie that mostly bores you to death, and it quite literally feels like the movie lasts 4 hours. Michael Douglas still does a solid role here as the special advisor picked up by the president to deal with the war on drugs. Although the movie has a high ambition and many feel it is complex, I don't really see the appeal. It may be a little more from both sides, both the distributors and the police trying to fix the problem on drugs. Obviously, also, of course, the users, but I don't feel it is as complex and deep as people make it out to be. Look at movies like Tenet, for example, and look at Predestination. Those are much more complex, and sure, they are different movies, but you have seen much more exciting and better movies about the war on drugs. For example, like Scarface and Blow, that entertain you a whole lot more. So, they may be a little more one sided, but the characters in those movies were much better, and I don't really understand why this movie even was nominated for an Oscar, because it is really not that good in the first place. All the actors, like Don Cheadle and Benicio Del Toro, for example, have done better acts in other movies, and I can't really understand why it is held in such high regard. This movie nowadays looks old and it does not hold up against movies made today. With slow pacing, those messy transitions, and it is really a movie which at times makes you feel it is difficult to know what's really going on. So you portray the drug kingpins in a decent way, the users in a decent way, but like I said, you have seen much better characters in other movies, and although the movie may not be about the characters and rather be about the deeper meaning, it is much easier to stay invested in a movie if you had much better characters. Part of the problem may be that it is not based on a true story like the movies about Escobar, the mentioned Blow, and Scarface. That is based on Al Capone as a character. Okay, so they are probably much more character driven, but actually think the movie may get way too simple at times. They don't really go into the root of the meaning of the war on drugs. There's some violence, yes, but you would like to see more drug busts and how these kingpins stay away from the law, like in, for instance, American Gangster or Carlitos Way, which may be more pure gangster movies, but I think even those movies goes way more into detail about how kingpins deal with the drugs. For me, this movie is too general, and it would have been better if they chose a direction one way or another. That's why for me it is only a 5 out of 10.